Welcome to this edition of Get to Know Your Wayne State football program for the 2023 season. I'm Sports Information Director Jeff Weiss, and joined today by Antwon Robinson, a familiar face around the Warrior fans from playing in GA and second year as a full-time assistant coach. Let's talk about your favorite group of guys, the defensive backs. And you look at the returning safeties, you've got guys with quite a bit of experience. A lot of them were true freshmen last year, and it showed at times. But now, I guess the seat of equivalent benefit is you've got guys that are only in their second year, but they've seen college snaps. You've got Chavez Hawkins, who's been around for a while. Hayden Loya, Dalen Peaks is back in the fold. Braden Verleveld, along with a few other younger guys like Chidi and Chris Gillum and Draven Wilson. What can you tell us? What did those guys show during spring ball and improving from what you saw last fall?
The biggest thing is getting Dalen and Chavez back. That's going to be the biggest one because Chavez went out game 2 of last season with him able to get a medical red shirt. Now we got him back because he's really the leader of the secondary. Dalen is making the transition from corner to safety because I think we got some dynamic corner. So Dalen has the flexibility to play corner and safety. Chris is out right now because he was injured during the season, but his timetable, he should be back during camp. Chidi is steady. He's steady improving. He's steady improving. Like he keeps the room light, right?
Yeah, you always see a smile on his face and stuff.
Yep. Draven Wilson is day by day. He's improving too. Like that's going to be a big thing. And then the guy that made the most improvement was Hayden Loya, right? From last year, Hayden actually started some games last year. So he came in as a walk-on, earned a scholarship, started some games last year. Spring ball, he was a starter from day one. So Hayden is pretty much rolling right now. And then Braden, obviously getting him to play last year was awesome. He's in good spirits right now. He's healthy and expect him big things from him this year.
Sounds like you're going to have a little competition for playing time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got 3 recruits coming in at safety: Torrance Green, Rashad Boyd, and Derek Wallace. What can you tell us about those 3 young men you recruited?
Man, those guys are phenomenal. Torrance Green, engineering major, high GPA from Ann Arbor, Huron. Torrance showed his junior year that he can cover, where he had 5 interceptions. His senior year, where he was all-state, I mean, anything that moves, he tackles. Derek Wallace, he's from East Point, big physical safety who he got to learn his body. But once he gets that all under control, he's gonna be one of my top guys. And Rashad Boyd, he's awesome because you should see him in workouts, right? He's big, 6'3", 200 pounds as a high schooler. He can grow into basically a linebacker or a nickel for us. But the thing is with him right now is he's athletic enough to play safety for us because he was a receiver in high school and a safety as well.
Oh, wow. Sounds great. You mentioned nickel. So obviously with Coach Sims's defense, the nickel position is kind of like the hybrid safety linebacker. And you've got a couple of guys there with, let's start with Drake Reed, I guess. Mr. Everything.
Oh, man. Drake is, like you said, everything. Drake can play corner, safety, nickel, right? He's always going to be our +1 in the run and the pass game. So having Drake there who can run our whole defense, he communicates, get everybody lined up, that's big to have Drake there.
And obviously in the classroom he takes care of business as well. Yeah. So, and then I know Devin Brown was a walk-on last year. He's seeing some time at nickel during the spring.
Yeah, so actually Devin took probably the majority of the reps as the nickel this spring. The big thing with Devin is like he comes in as a walk-on, but he was a Heart of Detroit, so that's his scholarship. The biggest thing with Devin is he's constantly getting better, right? He's getting big, he's getting better because he was a guy, and last year, if you remember, I was big on Devin last year.
Sounds great. Then obviously the other part of the secondary is your corners. And you were talking before about some of those guys. You got Elijah Folks, who had 2 picks in 1 game last year. You've got Chuck Worsham back. Gamon Howard redshirted last year as a transfer. So you've got a pretty good trio to start with right there.
So I think they're great. I think they're great because like you can look at it. Elijah Folks, who was all conference last year, is a true freshman. Gamon Howard, who potentially could be our best corner this year, did not play at all last year. Had to sit for transfer reasons. And then Chuck Worsham, who's our best athlete. Chuck is our best athlete. So once we get Chuck rolling all the way, those 3 guys is what I'm going to lean on.
Sounds great. Like you'll be able to have some rotation to keep guys fresh and stuff like that. You also brought in 4 recruits: Josiah Buford, Jaden Bush, Kwan Houston, and Anthony Walk. So you got to be excited about those guys and the depth that they will provide.
Yep, getting some local guys. Anthony Walk's a 6'1" corner from Detroit Central, so he came to every home game last year. So that's the biggest thing, is recruiting local, getting guys that want to be here. Anthony would be a dynamic player for us. He's at all the workouts. Josiah Buford's from Swartz Creek, so he's from the Flint area. 6'2", 6'3", you know, but Josiah could potentially move to a safety depending how he develops and what happens with his body. Jaden Bush, so he's from Southfield. I'm from Southfield, so I had to get that guy. But family's from Canada, so you know that's a big thing, is keeping him close to home, because he's a big body that can play either field or boundary corner. But I think the biggest sleeper is Kewan Houston. Kewan missed his junior year. Senior year, he's from Belleville. So state championships 2 years in a row. He was a starter out there for him, and I'm excited to get him. I think he was the sleeper of the class.
Sounds great. And not only with all this depth that we've already talked about, you're adding Jace Parrish.
Jace is from Grand Blanc, and he's from Flint. He's a grad student. The biggest thing with him is if you look at his career, he's gradually gotten better over the last 3 years. So he'll be a safety for us. Big 6'1", 200-pound safety that can run, play every special teams. So he's going to be special. He's going to be special here.
Sounds great. Well, it looks like you're going to have a lot of competition. It'll be interesting to see who makes the bus trip to Slippery Rock the first game.
Yep.
Thanks again for watching this edition of Get to Know Your Wayne State Football Program.